Hey friends, welcome back to our channel, or if you're new here, my name's Garrett.
I'm Alyssa.
And we are the Leffersons. And if this is your first time joining us, we are a Disney-loving couple,
Yes.
recent parents
Yes.
from the Chicagoland area. And today we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts, annual passes.
Yes, so if you didn't know, we are putting this video out pretty quickly because we got word that annual passes are going to be available again
For Walt Disney World.
for Walt Disney World on April 20th.
When was the last time that they were available? Pre-COVID, eh?
No.
No?
No, they've been available after, but
Okay.
I feel like maybe they were available like 6 months to a year ago. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It used to be pre-COVID, you could literally just go into guest relations or order one online and it was super duper easy. But now it's like they only bring them out once in a blue moon and they're limited and it's hard to get one. And it's just like a whole thing.
And
so
we received a lot of messages on Instagram, and if you're not following us, follow us on Instagram at the Leffersons, of like, is it worth it? Are you guys going to renew? Because we let our annual passes slip away about a year ago, almost to the month, because we had our baby boy James, who we just put down for a nap,
Yeah.
and we knew we weren't going to get the most out of it. But before that, we were annual pass holders for like 3 years,
I
want
think
to
it was
say.
3 years, at least
Okay.
3 years. The years all just kind of blended together during COVID, but yeah, we have been pass holders for quite some time. We already know all the perks and kind of like how you can get your money's worth out of it.
So we're going to cover 3 different things today. We're going to talk about the annual passes and the different tiers. We're going to talk about different scenarios and ways to get the most of your annual pass as you can. And finally, we're going to throw it back to you and answer some of the questions that we got from Instagram. So let's start with the different tiers of the annual passes and what's all inside of there.
So I really don't want to talk a whole lot on the different tiers. I know we said we're going to talk about them. I'm going to put a picture up right here for your pleasure, okay? There are 4 different tiers. The first 3 cheapest tiers are all for Florida residents. So
We are not one of those.
We're not
We live
Florida
in Chicagoland. The flight to Florida for us is about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind whenever you're kind of listening to what we're saying as far as the perks and all that stuff.
yeah, so we are mainly going to be talking about the Incredi-Pass, which is the top tier. It is the only tier that's available for out-of-state pass holders, which the majority of the people that have been asking us if it's worth it, they live out of state. They don't live in Florida. So I will just say this right now, right here, right now, okay? If you are a Florida resident, if you have the option to purchase any of the cheaper options, I'm gonna say it's probably
Do it.
worth it for you. Like,
Do it.
you could do monthly payments if you want, if you live in Florida. You can go to the parks on a random weekend during the day. You are closer, go for it. I think it's probably more worth it for you. The out-of-state pass holders is trickier because you've gotta fly to get there or drive a longer distance. You've gotta have hotel. You gotta have all those things. So we're gonna be talking about the Incredi-Pass. So as you can see, the Incredi-Pass retails for about $1,400 per person.
Per
which is a
person.
lot of money. That is adults and kids. It's the same price for both. Obviously, if you have a baby like we do, I think 2 and under
Yeah.
are free, right, to go into the park. But yeah.
Now that does include park hoppers. So you are able to switch parks during the day, which is slightly more on a daily basis. And we're gonna get to that in a second.
I feel like that's maybe one of our favorite perks.
Yes.
The biggest perk about the Incredi-Pass to us is that there are no blackout dates.
None, zip.
Meaning that you could go any time of year. You could go low season, you could go on New Year's Eve if you really wanted to, which is, by the way, the most expensive day
Yeah.
to go to Disney World. You have no blackout dates. So for us, if you didn't know, we are educators. We can only literally go during busy times of the year.
Everyone
Spring break,
else.
Christmas break, summer. Like, that's the only time we can go. So even if we were a Florida resident, I don't even know if we would do one of those other passes because the Florida passes all have some sort of blackout dates.
Now, even though you have Park Hopper and the annual pass, you still have to make park reservations, right? So
yes,
you can
as of right now.
As of right now. So April 2023. So you can make 5 at a time? How does that work?
You can make up to 5 park pass reservations at a time, unless if you are staying at a Disney resort, you can make even more than that. So say you have 10 nights at a Disney resort, you can make park passes for every single day that you're staying at a resort.
Okay.
Plus, I think the additional 5 park passes, I think it's like if you're staying off property or whatever, or if you're a local and don't need to stay at a resort, you can reserve up to 5 at a time. I will also say, starting April 18th, there is a new perk for pass holders that you can enter any park after 2 p.m. without a park reservation, except for Saturdays and Sundays at Magic Kingdom. So that's kind of like a new perk for pass holders.
Maybe that's a soft opening for like the park reservation system kind of
dwindling,
dissolving away.
We're kind of hoping that it goes away.
So a really nice thing about the annual pass, and especially if you're driving, you Floridians or people that live nearby, is you get free parking at the parks. Parking is like $20.
I think it's 25 at least, and it's only included for standard parking. I know you can choose to do like preferred, which gets you a little bit closer. What does it matter at this point? The parking lots are all kind of far. Well, Magic Kingdom's parking lot's pretty far. Epcot can be pretty far.
Whatever.
But regardless, if you are staying off-site or even if you're driving to Florida and you have your car and you want to drive to the park, your parking's included, which $25 a day, that adds up.
So another big perk with the annual pass is you get discounts. Now, it's not the same across the board, but merchandise is 20%. And it may not sound like a lot, but when you're buying pins and you're buying clothes and you're buying ears and you're buying all these things, it tends to add up.
It does. I have to say, so the last time we went to Disney, back in February, we were not pass holders. I bought a $75 sweatshirt.
And we bought significantly less things because we didn't have that annual pass. Now,
but maybe that's also saving money. Like if you don't have the annual pass, then maybe you don't spend as much money on things because you know you don't have the discount.
But why? That's no fun. That's no fun.
If you're a big merchandise person, then the 20% off is a big deal.
It adds up. And now there also is some discounts on food, few and far between. We always ask. We definitely know, like at Quick Serve, no. Maybe at some table restaurants, we always ask. We always say, hey, are there any discounts? Or if they're a really great cast member, they'll ask, do you have any discounts, like annual pass? And then you can say, yes, I am. So
a rule of thumb is all of the quick services in the parks do not give you the 10% discount.
Nope.
Most table services and signature restaurants give you 10%.
Cool. Okay.
There are a few, very select few restaurants, I think in Disney Springs that are 15% off, like the Edison apparently gives you 15% off. And the only place that gives you 20% off, Joffrey's.
Game changer.
Which, to be honest, if you need coffee in your life, then that's gonna add up too. Because we have Joffrey's like every day.
I feel like over the course of our annual pass havingdom, we have slowly shifted to Joffrey's more so than Starbucks at the parks.
Well, because Starbucks lines are always so long.
And there's a Joffrey's at the Skyliner switch. And so while the person is in line to get to it, the other person runs and grabs coffee and donuts. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
But you also get discounts on special events. So like Mickey's Not So Scary, the
Christmas party, even like after hours events.
Yeah.
Now it's only $10 off, and it also is not for like every night. So for example, for the Christmas party, you usually get $10 off for the month of November, but the closer that you get to Christmas and the busier it gets, they don't offer the $10 off anymore. So you gotta kind of pay attention to that. You may get the discount, you may not get the discount.
And there are some perks as an annual pass. You get sometimes early access to rides. And we, like post-COVID, we attended the annual pass preview opening of of Disney World, of Magic Kingdom. We went.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was a
There's
pass holder
no
preview.
one in the park.
Go watch that
That's
vlog.
never gonna happen again.
Go watch that. No, it won't. But as pass holders, like, we dropped everything and went.
But you do get pass holder previews for the rides. So we did pass holder preview for Cosmic Rewind. Yep. We did pass holder preview for Remy's.
Yep.
They had pass holder preview for Tron, but we were not pass holders during that time. But that is definitely, I think that's maybe one of my favorite added perks.
And then you can have access to, like, little merchandisey things. Alyssa's ears are pass holder ears. And we're back. We had some technical difficulties. Camera died, wouldn't start back up, wouldn't charge. We had a baby. We have had a baby.
We had a baby during the video. Now
and apparently they decided to start working on the roof of our apartment. So if you hear banging, clanging, or other noises, sorry.
Hot Mess Express over here.
Usually we try and do better than this.
It's okay. It's
maybe that's a sign to get a new camera. I don't know.
We probably need a new camera.
And we don't really. We're filming on our phone now, and we don't know where to look. So
it's fine.
Just go with us.
We're just gonna keep going.
By the way, this is James. He is just turned 5 months, and he's the best.
You want to say hello?
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi. Okay.
So I would. Oh, you want to talk about your thing first?
No, there's something that I want to talk about that we probably should have mentioned at the very beginning, and then we kind of forgot about it. So annual passes, you were able to purchase them on April 20th.
Okay.
That does not mean that your annual passes will start on April 20th.
Oh, cool.
Your annual passes start like your first day of use. So what we were talking about, because obviously we've been debating, like, do we get the annual pass again? Do we not? Blah, blah, blah. I would not want to bring him, like, during the summer. Yeah. At least this summer, I feel like he's too young still to go, like, during the hot, humid months.
Oh, roast.
So if we do purchase the annual pass, I think we will wait to activate it until, like, the fall or even Christmas. I would suggest activating it whenever you know that you can use it within that year. Like, you'll be able to go a few times, which we'll talk about scenarios later, but I just want to mention that even if you purchase it on April 20th, it doesn't mean that it starts on April 20th. It's activated the first day that you use it. Okay, now we can move on.
Now, whenever you are planning your trip to Disney World, you can access special rates by being an annual pass holder. So whenever Alyssa would book rooms, she'd be like, okay, here's the regular rate, and it's cheaper to stay here because they have an annual pass rate. Am I right in that?
Yeah, and it's not all the time.
Okay.
It's kind of just random, and it's usually for like more off-season times of the year. And usually it's only up to like 30% off. It's not like a huge discount.
30% is sizable.
It is, but at the same time, right now they have a sale going on just on the regular Disney World website where anyone can get 25% off rooms for like from like April to June or something like that. So you don't necessarily have to be a pass holder in order to get special room rates.
Okay.
And the other thing to mention about that is even if they do have an annual pass discount for resort rooms, they only do like so many rooms
at that rate.
Okay. Yeah. So there's been times where like wanted to stay at Pop Century, but like all of their pass holder discount rooms were already taken. So then we stayed at like All Star Movies or something instead, you know? So take that all with a grain of salt, but basically you do get hotel discounts. They're not all the time. It's not guaranteed. They're limited. Blah, blah, blah.
So we talked a lot about the discounts and a couple other things, but some of the kind of perks, I guess you could say. Annual pass holders have their own line getting into the parks. Now, they don't always check to make sure that everyone there is a pass holder, but anyone who's gone to the Disney parks a regular amount knows that if you don't know how to use the touch points, it significantly slows down a line. You may have a line with only 8 people, but those 8 people may take 12 minutes to get through, whereas annual pass holders are like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, like we know how to do it. There's the finger scan and the touch and the band.
Well, band finger.
It's a process,
and
right?
there's two touch points, people. 2 touch points.
So it sometimes is faster to go through the annual pass holder line. The other fun perk is when you are a pass holder, which I do kind of miss this little tiny thing. It's like so little and like probably most people don't even recognize it who don't go to Disney often, but when you touch your Magic Band, or even if you have like, you can use your annual pass card to also get into the park. When you touch it, it'll like light up a certain different color and like makes a different sound, which is so cute. It's just so like, cute. Oh, I'm a pass holder. Like, it's just a little thing, but it's the little things, right?
Once you get inside the park, as an annual pass holder, you can access Memory Maker or add that to your annual pass for only $100 more.
It used to be included.
Yeah, Memory Maker is the photo passes, so you get all the copies from your ride, the ride photos, but also any of the photographers that are around the parks. And that's only $100, whereas what is it per trip now?
Okay, so we wanted to see what it was going to cost to purchase it for one day on one of our last trips. It was like $69 for one day.
Forget that.
If you do it for the entire trip, I believe it's $200 for an entire trip. So when you think of it that way, even if you were to only do like 2 trips with your annual pass, you're saving $300 right there, because it's $100 per annual pass also. And the other thing is, I'm kind of thinking about this, now that you add it on, I wonder if you could only add it on for one pass and not both of them.
No, well...
because it used to be included, right? So it didn't really matter, but now you add it on to each pass. I wonder if I could just like add it on to mine.
Yeah.
And then like not add it on to yours, and then like we just use my Magic Band to save an extra $100. I don't know. That's stuff that we'll have to figure out when we actually purchase the tickets.
And point of clarification, the annual pass is for the parks at the price that we've been talking about. You can add on the water parks, which there's only one right now. The other one is like major overhaul right now, for an extra $100. So if water parks are your jam, you can throw that into the mix and
you can also do
the
like
dealio.
Mini golf courses. I think some other actual golf courses are included in the water parks and sports option.
Oh, and sports.
It's water parks and sports.
All right. So then one of the things that kept us coming back to annual passes, every time you renew, you get about 15% off. So it kind of makes you want to come back for a little bit more, but of course they raise the prices, so it's kind of
you still save. Okay, so 15% off of $1,400 is a little less than $1,200.
Yeah.
So you're saving $200 per person each year. And I will also say it's nice to renew, because when you renew, you can just do it online, or you can just go to guest services and renew. You don't have to wait in a waiting room like we're probably all going to have to do on April 20th, and it'd be like this big huge thing. You just like renew and move on with your day.
Exactly.
So, it is what it is. There's parts of me that wishes we didn't let it go, just for like the hassle and all of that.
It was a weird time for Disney. It was a weird time for us. It was, we had this thing, the leadership at Disney was kind of up in the air. They were making some choices that didn't sit right with us. I mean, that's not the main reason that we chose not to. But,
no, but to be honest, we priced it out, and we realized, with me being pregnant, and for part of this annual pass year, because it was May to this May, I was very pregnant for part of that. We had just had him. Like, it was just, there were at least 5 to 6 months of that year that we would not be going to the park.
So that actually leads into our next part, which is Alyssa has deemed it scenarios. So this is really gaming it out and seeing like what we would have to do to make this worth our money and get at minimum our money out of it.
Yes.
In the past, we definitely and I think this is the reason that they kind of got out of annual passes, is like we took advantage of it. And
we went like once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
I think one year we went about 8 times.
Yeah.
And
we definitely took advantage. Now, we only went for maybe like 3-day weekends.
Correct.
We are obviously educators. We would just go during 3-day weekends or make a weekend longer. Whatever.
And if you've never been to Disney or bought tickets over an extended time, the more days you buy, the cheaper those park tickets become. What's the break point? After 3 days, tickets start to get like more...
After 4 days.
After
tickets
4
start
days.
to get cheaper. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put a little thing up here that shows. But yeah, after 4 days, tickets significantly get cheaper per day. So if you are that type of family that just goes to Disney once a year, but you do like a big long 2-week adventure where you get a 10-day park hopper pass.
You do it.
That is not going to make your annual pass worth it. So yeah, I did this for a busy time of the year too, from like the end of December through beginning of January. That's a hot ticket time. If you were to do 10 park hopper days, one ticket, including tax, would be $969.
One ticket.
One ticket. Annual pass is $1,400. So obviously, if you were only to do one trip, but a 10-day pass, not going to be worth it.
Nope.
Unless if you factor in that you're going to be spending or getting discounts, you'd have to be getting at least $400, $500 in discounts in order for that to be worth it, or for it to pay for itself, like parking and things like that, merchandise.
So we have found that annual pass works for us when it's those shorter stints.
Yes.
So 3-4 days.
An example, when we went on a 3-day, 3-park day trip back in February, that was more of an off season.
Was that his first time?
That was his first time.
Watch those vlogs.
We spent over $800 on one park per day tickets. It would have been almost $1,000 on park hoppers for 3 days. Now, obviously, that's for 2 people. So we'll just say $500 a person for 3 park tickets.
And having gone from like just going and go
Yeah.
walking to the parks, that added cost, like, oh, that was a gut punch.
I know. It's so much easier for us to make reservations and book a trip when we know that we already have tickets. Like,
And-
the tickets is the biggest, most expensive thing that you're going to spend.
And I
Oh my
will
God.
say that once you get it, people always say, once you have an annual pass, you're going to go all the time. And it's true, because you have that upfront cost, but then once you get there, getting there and staying there, that's really all you got to pay for.
Yeah.
So if
we will talk about like flights and stuff too later on.
So if you can score those and you know you're gonna go, like, man, do it.
Okay, so there's also something else to note, right? There's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration, and it's very hard for me to tell you if it's going to be worth it for you.
Yep.
But I'm going to give you some different scenarios. So, for example, park tickets differ in cost depending on the time of the year. I think I might have mentioned this a little bit earlier in the video, but for example, September, off season.
Yeah.
Kids are back in school.
Yeah.
It's like also hurricane season.
Oh, perfect.
So tickets
Let's go.
tickets are much cheaper per day, okay? Versus if you were to go the week of Christmas like we do, the most expensive week is between Christmas and New Year's. That's going to be a lot more money up front when you're paying for park tickets. So I actually priced out both of those to see what it would cost if you were to just buy tickets. So for September, off season, I just did a 4-day park hopper, because typically if you were to go for 5 to 7 days, the least amount you're going to get is a 4-day park hopper, one park each day, right? That's going to cost you $596 per person, okay? So that's about $600, let's say. That's including tax, okay? So if you were to go off season, you would need more than 2 trips in order to make it worth it, because 2 trips would be
2 4-day trips in off season.
Yeah, 2 4-day trips in off season would be $1,200. Your annual pass is $400. But if you also could take into consideration Memory Maker, there's usually annual pass resort discounts during those off-season times. So 2 trips with all those added discounts would probably pay it off.
Okay.
Probably pay it off.
So now if you're a regular person and can only go when your children or whenever schools are out, what's that look like?
So I also priced out basically the week of Christmas, which is one of the highest seasons. A 4-day park hopper for then is $774.
Okay.
So if you were to go on 2 trips during a high season, say you were to go Christmas and spring break, which is pretty much when we would go, it would definitely pay for itself in 2 trips. You're looking at over $1,500 for 2 trips.
All right. And that makes sense, because the annual pass is made for people who love Disney.
And who go more than 2
Exactly.
times a year.
Exactly. If you are planning to go more than 2 times for whatever reason, the 50th just ended, but they're rolling into the 100th.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
And you really have to take into consideration all the other little discounts. Are you the type of family that loves to eat at table in signature dining restaurants? If you do, that 10% could add up, especially when a meal could be $200 at Topolino's. 10% off of that makes a big difference, okay? If you are the type of people that like to drive to the park and actually park there, $25 a day adds up.
Yep.
It's like those little things. If you're a big merchandise person and like to buy a bunch of Loungefly bags these days are $80 to $90. 20% off of that adds up. So like all of those little things add up. I would say if you are planning to go for 2 trips and you're big on merchandise, you're big on signature dining, then it will probably pay for itself. You might get a little bit of a discount. If you are planning to go at least 3 times, you're definitely gonna get your money's worth.
I wish that I was a cool person and I could create like a spreadsheet for this to help you figure out a cost calculator, but I can't because everybody's so different.
Everybody's different. It all depends on the time of the year that you go.
And so many people asked us a lot of questions on Instagram. So make sure you're following on Instagram at the Leffersons, and let's work because we don't want this to be a 6-hour video. Let's do some hot takes on this because it's getting a pretty long right now.
Yeah.
So let's go back and forth.
Okay.
Let's be quick. Let's get it done. Let's go. For out-of-state people, do you have any tips on plane tickets?
That's another thing to factor in. So we live in Chicago, meaning we have 2 major airports.
Literally down the street.
And we are very fortunate to be able to get like very affordable flights.
If you plan to go, spring it, get the TSA pre-check. It is worth every single penny. The last time we flew out of Orlando, the wait time for regular security was 45 minutes. We were through in 3 or 5 minutes. TSA pre-check, worth it.
Okay, so here's the cool thing about being a pass holder. When we were pass holders, we fly Southwest a lot.
Yes.
Okay, and I use their fly fare calendar or low fare calendar. That's what it's called. And if there was a weekend, say 2 to 3 weeks from now, where flights were $60 each way, I'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to Disney in 2 weeks because flights are super cheap. We have the luxury of having a lot of flight options out of Chicago. If you are living somewhere where you can easily drive, it'd be worth it for you. But if you're living somewhere like maybe California or Washington or some small town in the middle of Nebraska where it's hard to get to an airport that has a lot of nonstop flights to Orlando, you see what I'm saying?
Mind
here?
you,
it might be more expensive.
We did live in the middle of nowhere, and we still went all the time because we're crazy.
But we also flew out of Chicago.
What is your favorite other perk of having an annual pass? I think there isn't a perk that you get by buying it. I think for me, it is more so just the ease of being able to choose and to go. Like Alyssa said, the flexibility to be like, hey, we're gonna go, and we know that we have this much in our budget. We know that we can, and we're okay with saying like, we're not gonna make it this time.
Yeah.
But that flexibility, and even with him, I think we would still do it because he's a baby. And we just pick up and go. I think that's probably the biggest perk for me.
I would say my biggest perk, especially since our last trip we did not have park hopper, that's probably would be my favorite perk is park hopping. And again, having that flexibility, but I really wish we had park hopper last time.
If you already have park tickets for an upcoming trip, can you get a refund if you buy the annual pass? How that has worked for us in the past is they actually roll that into your annual pass cost and it deducts it off of that. So if we spent $700, it would go from $1,400 to $700 per person.
Mind you, this was before COVID.
Correct.
When annual passes were easily available and you could just walk into guest relations after you activated your purchased tickets, and then they would deduct the price for the annual pass.
How it works now?
I honestly don't even know if you would be able to do that right now. If you're in that scenario, I would call guest relations and speak to them about it right now before you purchase the annual pass and see what they could do for you. I don't know if that's an option now.
Is it worth it if you're planning on being pregnant? You were pregnant. We had a baby.
And we were pass holders while I was pregnant too, when we went to the park.
Yep.
That's kind of your personal choice. you can still do a lot when you're pregnant. You can do a lot with a baby. There's just, you won't be able to go on the thrill rides.
Now, we took him when he was 3 months old, and he did great. So, to each their own. If you want to go while you're pregnant and be a big old mama walking around the park, do it. Who cares?
I thought it was really fun. Plus, you can do the shows. We also did like a lot more of like a relaxed Disney trips, which was really nice. And as a pass holder, you can do that.
Because old girl was like, it's time to
My
sit.
legs hurt, my feet hurt, it all hurt.
Can you bring guests if you have an annual pass? No. All right.
Wouldn't it be awesome if you could? But no. They
Now,
wouldn't do that.
Does it make sense for just one person to have annual pass for the discounts? Alyssa and I kind of talked about this.
It's an interesting question. I never really thought about it until a few of you guys asked that question.
Yeah, so like if Alyssa had the annual pass, obviously she would use that to purchase whatever it was because it's all coming out of the same bank account. We have a shared account.
Yeah, so I would give my card for the discounts for merch and dining and parking, resort.
Now I could see this if like you like say Alyssa was really into Disney and went a lot and I wasn't into it. The only wrinkle in that would be buying tickets and making sure that they're linked up and making sure that everything is copacetic.
Also, I would say if you're one of the people that are borderline, like maybe you only have 2 trips planned, then it might be beneficial because remember we were saying you pretty much break even at 2 trips.
Yeah.
So if you're breaking even for 1, that's great, but then you also get the discounts for both of the trips.
Who knows?
I don't know. It's again, it's all I wish we could tell you what to do, but you're going to have to do a little bit of math yourself.
Do you feel they will have it again next year or is it limited right now?
I mean, it's already limited right now.
Knows?
And I would say if you are even considering getting an annual pass, even within the next year, do it and just activate it whenever you want to activate it.
Disney
just
sometimes rubs me the wrong way. The way that they capitalize on people's FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yep, and that's us.
And I just
we are guilty.
Yeah.
We are so
and
guilty.
then that's how they get me. And like, oh, I gotta buy this because it's the last one on the shelf. And then like the next day they're everywhere. And it's just like, But since this is a big economic thing for them, I don't know because kind of if like I was saying, if annual pass holders really do come a lot, the parks aren't making money off people coming in, so it kind of hurts their bottom line.
Well, they're making money on our, like when we go to Epcot, they make money because we spend $200 on food and drinks.
but again, they don't. Disney makes money once people are in the parks, not necessarily at the gate.
Yeah.
But do you think it's worth it to only do it for 1 year and then skip a year or 2?
I mean, that's kind of like what we did.
If there is a guarantee that they have it on a rolling basis and like kind of open entry, yeah, go for it. But also keep in mind that you do lose that 15% discount.
Yes.
And you kind of have to re-up it every time.
But at the same time, if you are planning on not going for a year, then you'd be wasting $1,200.
And that's kind of what we did.
By renewing. So it's kind of like, that's why we stopped. But now we were kind of like, well, are we going to be able to get it back again? That's the problem, is that you don't know if you're going to get the opportunity to get it back again. And even with us saying that we're going to go buy annual passes on April 20th, we don't even know if we're going to be able to because they're limited. Like, we have no idea.
Nope. The last one that we have is, do you use a travel credit card to save money? Now, that probably more so means for flights. We do have a Southwest card. I don't know if we use it to the best of its ability. And
we've been using it a lot better now. We've been paying rent with it and daycare and just paying it off so that we're getting those points. But if you were wondering, I think they're probably asking like to put their annual passes on there.
I don't know.
Which we had talked about. We were like, should we put it on our Disney credit card to get rewards on there? Should we put it on the Southwest card to get points on there?
I am, as someone that was not good with money for a majority of my adult life, I am not going to give financial advice on going into debt for Disney or whatever it may be.
No, don't go into debt for Disney, but if you have the money to pay it off, then put it on a credit card.
Be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
We're talking about this kind of flippantly, but we have our financials in order. Don't go into the poorhouse because you want to be annual pass holder. Be responsible. That's all I can really say. I think he likes my shirt. But I am not going
Or
to...
he's hungry.
Yeah, I'm not going to give financial advice without knowing your situation. If you have points or if you have the means, do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what we are planning to do. We're going to put it on a credit card and pay it off just so we could get the points for it.
If you have the money in savings and feel like you have the cashola for it, spend it.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Everybody's different. I am not going to tell you what to spend your money on.
But
Except I will tell you to subscribe and hit that notification icon. And if there was a way to give us money, I would want you to do that, but there isn't. So,
is there a fund? Can you guys help us pay for an annual pass?
Yeah. This is the annual pass fundraiser. I don't know.
Make sure you like this video because that will give us 2 pennies towards our.
And if you know someone who's thinking about this, share this. Go check out our vlogs. We have a ton of park vlogs about annual passing and some previews and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Go check that out. But we hope that this is kind of back to our roots of why we started this channel, was to like help people be able to access and enjoy Disney as much as we do, because we hate when people come back and say that was the worst time ever. Like, no,
you gotta go to
help
Disney
you.
and be prepared.
Exactly.
So this is to help you guys. If you guys have any other questions, put those in the comments down below. We will be answering questions up until annual passes are sold. If you're watching this after annual passes are sold, I'm assuming they will be on sale again in the future, probably just more expensive.
And for the third time,
this will still work.
Yep, and for the third time, follow us on Instagram at the Leffersons. We'll probably post if we did end up getting our passes or if we didn't, and that whole journey.
Keep y'all in the loop.
As they say.
Are we going to be pass holders? Are we not?
Oh, that's the question.
It's going to be stressful.
All right, guys, I think that's it. If you enjoyed this, do the doodly doos, and here's your dose of James before he eats me or Alyssa.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like the video and comment down below how cute I am.
He's looking at Oliver. Oh, he just saw himself.
Hi. Can you say bye to everybody?
Bye.
Bye.